All right, everyone. We're into the shit now, as we're going to get. Before we go, I realize that there's been a travesty while we've been doing all of these shows, and I'm going to correct it with the recordings moving forward. I have not worn a single Gurren Lagann shirt during a single one of these recordings. So I'm going to fix that, and I will show them off as we go through in each and every one.
That's the one that I want. Right now I'm rocking Death the Kid.
Nice. Very nice. Oh, dude, it feels good. This one is a new one. This one's brand spanking new.
Nice.
All right. Go ahead, buddy. Hit him with synopsis.
All right. So for those who may have not have seen the last episode, we're not doing episode 16 because it's just a compilation. It's literally titled compilation episode.
Yes.
So we're pressing forward to episode 17, and I swear this is the most appropriate title ever. You don't know anything. During the following 7 years, a new civilization rises and prospers under Simon's leadership. However, these peaceful times come to end when the threat mentioned in Lord Genome's last words start to reveal itself. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about this episode and about the second season. So Gurren Lagann is a 27 episode anime, but it kind of feels like we've pressed fast forward between like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Like we got there in at least like a quarter of the time.
Yeah, this is one of the animes that like I'm used to watching like at least 60 episode animes that like they always had on Toonami. For the longest time on Toonami when it started out, they never had short animes. They would always have these longer ones that they could rerun for years. This is the first one I watched that was really short to the point and had basically no fat on it. So it was very jarring how fast it goes.
So let's talk about what has happened in the last 7 years.
New Communist City.
Yeah. A very appropriate title.
Yeah. That was 7 years. They got an entire city going. I believe I mentioned where it's like I don't remember exactly how much we thought we equated the first series probably took. Maybe like a month or two max.
Something like that.
And they got that much done in a month or two. No, wait. There was a month between. Wasn't there like it was like a 3-week gap when they were putting the Levisphere into the Daigunzen. So like 2-3 months. We'll say 2 or 3 months because there was time in there. They got that done in 2-3 months. They have an entire like high functioning sci-fi civilization up in 7 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I like that how when they start off this episode, they're like, we're going to give you answers, the important ones. Starting off with who the old man was.
I love it. And I love how they even admit in the dialogue, like the times have been so peaceful that we can't figure out the big questions, but we're so bored. We have the time to uncover the small stuff.
Yep. Good old Coco. Just a beastman that wanted to take care of Nia. Who knew? Which means that he knew Nia was going to be meeting them because they met this guy before they found Nia.
Oh yeah. Do you remember exactly when we first saw him?
Sit in the hot tub till you're sick, I think.
Oh. Actually, yeah, that does ring a bell.
It was before Kamina dies. They met him. I can't remember where, but they met him before Kamina dies.
You know what? I think it was the hot tub episode because I remember like a like a kind of creepy old man, like just in there.
Yep.
And any other notable changes you want to point out?
It is so jarring to me every time I watch this. It never changes. That just how much they have the same exact voice actors for everybody. They're just up their voices by 7 years. Like, all these people are supremely talented. And this is always where it's like, I get to hear what Starfire would be if she was like 32. It's really weird.
Yeah, like if in case you haven't like recognized Hindenwald's voice before this episode, now it's a little bit more recognizable.
Oh yeah. And one thing that I need to mention before you could go off. Remember when I said there was legitimately only one person from episode 1 you would ever see ever again?
Oh.
It was the old man. I raised those boys like they were my 2 kids. Shut the hell up, you liar.
Typical old man capitalizing off the success of his children.
And you got to admit, like, of all the people that would worm their way into New Kamina City to be like, hey, I watched the other village while you guys went away. Do you not remember this? I raised you too, even though I put you in jail twice. But other changes, one last one, actually, because it was a minor detail that I always forget to talk with people about this. This society is so damn obsessed with faces. The buildings even have them in there for no fucking reason.
I was gonna ask, like, what is up with that?
It's like you get to see the image that in our intro, you get to see the eye catch that mine is based off of. Like, you get to see a little bit of like what was left of Teplin, like the main gunman that was Teplin. But, like, just side supports of brand new buildings have faces in them. Why? They serve no purpose. But it's just like, we're obsessed with faces, so it has to be there. What? Yeah.
Stuff like that is like, it's a little detail that I can appreciate because the one thing I didn't like about this episode, and I don't know if I should count this as a thing I would change. Well, you know what? Fine, we'll do that first and then get to the positives.
Okay.
I think this episode took itself a little too seriously. I get that like the tone has shifted because, you know, it's been 7 years, but like the faces on the building is like a small visual gag that like I can appreciate.
Yep.
Where like the writer's like, no, don't worry, we're still kind of a parody, but the stakes have been risen.
Yep. You would have preferred, and this is one thing that I can kind of agree with in that sentiment, considering how the last episode let off. It probably would have been nice to have one episode before everything nosedived clean into hell again. So I get where you're saying where it took itself really seriously instantly. It just never stopped. There was like maybe the proposal, Racio's food poisoning flashback. And then like, yeah, their old chieftain. There was not a lot of jokes in this episode. Like at all. Or that, oh yeah, and then they have Jorgun and Balenboa trying to be the people that keep track of the population. Oh yeah, but no, this is the point where it's like me and Mike are taking these episodes at a time now. We're still gonna do multiples in a night, so like obviously we'll still be wearing the same clothes, like you'll notice, but we're gonna take them one at a time because these new episodes are very plot heavy going forward, and it just does not stop until we get to the last 6, where it is just money poured into the best mech fights you've ever seen in your entire life for about 2.5 hours straight. So, yeah. So we'll get the nit and gritty in there before we get to it. But yeah, like this is I've said this to you before we started. This is pretty much a different show.
Pretty much.
Like, go ahead.
I'm just gonna keep making comparisons to like the anime sequel series. So this would be like Gurren Lagann Z, or like I don't know, like Lagann Wind or Lagann Wing.
You're not wrong. Gundam Wing would be a pretty good one. That got a lot more serious in the light, and this gets in more into the. Speaking of Gundam, anyone that it's one of the things that I love and hate about Gundam. Politics galore. So this was the point where they're like, "Oh yeah, we haven't had any politics in our freaking mech anime yet. We're gonna get some of those in there, and a lot of them."
Yeah, like it's like they said, we're 15 episodes in and we haven't really delved into politics. Let's just do all of it.
Yeah,
let's do all of it now.
And I like honestly how they handle it. Because I believe I mentioned this to you before, but you're going to see it a lot in the next like 4 to 5 episodes where now that they've gotten to the surface, people don't know how to handle having their own lives.
Yes, I noticed that a lot, especially in a scene we'll talk about in a minute with Vero.
Yep, exactly. Because it was like the little things like where like Simone is signing documents and it makes me laugh every damn time I see it. His fucking pen tip is a drill. The dude is obsessed. But like Rossio comes in. He's already got a mountain of paperwork and he's just like the gutters are clogged, the plumbing's clogged. People don't like their waste and whatever. It's just like, and Rossio mentions it like they used to live in pits. They have, everyone is basically a billionaire now compared to what they used to be, and they're not happy. And like you said, we'll get into that in a minute. I'm just trying to, that actually came up a lot faster than what I was thinking. I'll bring up something before we get to it because it's a really tiny detail. Kyo and Dayaka get married. I have nothing wrong with that. I actually thought that was pretty cool.
That was nice. That was nice.
Yeah. I hate Kyo's lips in this new animation. They drive me bonkers. I don't know why. They're super thick and over makeup, and it's really weird to me. It bugs me every time I watch it. That's like the only minor gripe that I have with anybody in their new looks. I don't know why they did that. Because it's just... But, yeah. That, and we'll lead into the other cool thing that kind of comes up with your boy, Viral. But I will let you talk about that because we'll go into the grapnel force along with it.
Actually, before we get to Viral, something happy that I want to talk about.
Yes. Yes.
Simone's proposal.
Him and Kamina do not know how to be romantic whatsoever.
To be fair, Nia still doesn't know how to be human.
No, but it's like, I'll repay that kiss 10 times over. Your eyes can be my eyes, and your ears can be my ears. I would like something like that. What the hell are you doing, Simone? The fact that she turns him down is the best thing ever. I just don't think two humans could become the same person. You're too cute for words, Nia. You're like 25, but you're still the cutest thing on the planet. Oh God. And also, I don't know if this is what it is, but I am pretty damn sure the ring she has, the stone, is the stone that he gives her in the episode at the end of the Simone Get Your Shit Together trilogy. I think it's the same one.
Oh,
I've never looked that up, but it was an emerald, and the gemstone in that ring is an emerald. If anyone knows in the comments below, tell me, because I've never looked it up myself, but I think it's it.
I need to confirm this now.
Are you looking that up?
Not now. I'll do it later. But
okay, all right, go ahead.
All right, let's talk about Viral and what exactly it is he's doing. So, I love how bureaucratic that Rossio has become. That he won't let Simone do anything, even though Viral is like basically his designated rival.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but it's Viral. I have to fight him. And he's like, no, you're the leader. You can't get your hands dirty.
Yeah, that was always one thing where I'm like, I get it. But like legitimately all of Team Gurren is just retired. That was the thing that shocked me the most. Not just Simone. Everybody's retired.
Yeah, like when I forget their name, but like when they said like, oh, all the gunmen have been scrapped. They're replaced.
Oh yeah, when Kino brings it up when they're fighting the I know the name of them, but I won't bring it up. It starts with an M. That's all I'll say. But when they bring up what the thing is, yeah, they're like, they've all been scrapped. And I was just like, okay, I understand. But what the hell were you thinking? If they're an antique, we have a statue of Kamina in the town square. Why didn't you just pose them next to it?
Yeah, that would have been at least more respectful. And
it's like, what are you thinking? But anyway,
and these new I'm gonna call them like Gundams.
They're very close. They do look like unicorn units minus the headgear.
Because they're not gunmen. They're too small to be gunmen.
And they're very, what do I want to say, mass produced.
Yeah, they're basically like the knockoffs.
Yes, from there.
And Vero even says like, who are these like Gurren knockoffs?
Exactly.
Give me Simone.
Yes, exactly. He's just like, I'm not going to get beat by you people. And then, lo and behold, because he's had the same freaking gunman for at least 7 years. I don't know how long he's been eradicating humans before that. I think in term of arcs, because obviously it's not done, outside of Simone, I think the person who might have the best arc in the entire show might be Viral. And you've not come close to seeing the end of it. But oh man.
Hold on, we're not done because we haven't really even explained what he's doing.
Nope. I was gonna let you do that.
Okay, so what he's doing is he's basically protecting the humans who want to live underground.
Yep.
Because apparently someone, and it's not Simone apparently, issued like a rule or a law declaring all humans must be on the surface.
Yep.
Which kind of brings up it brings up a pretty big debate between Rossio and Simone.
Mm-hmm.
Like from his perspective, he's like Rocio thinks if there are people living underground, then we won't know the size of the population, and the Earth could be doomed.
Yep.
But then Simone claps back with, "How is that any different from your father?"
Mm-hmm. The father of that village. How? And I love before this also. Not only does he compare him to the leader of the old village, Viral straight up compares Simone to Genome.
Like, damn.
I was like, that's some harsh words to throw out. But the thing is, he's really not comparing Simone because Simone didn't do it. Spoiler alert, that order was carried out by Rossiu. And
And now I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Are they framing Rossiu as an antagonist? Because the way he's written in this episode, especially, he comes off. Well, one, I respect in some like to some degree that he has a spine. He's grown a spine in the past 7 years.
Yep.
But maybe he hasn't because he also doesn't like Simone's approach to jump into action and actually protect his people.
I will go back to, and it's one thing why I love this series, and I have a point that I will have to bring up with you at the end of this series, because this is one of the only shows that ever does this, in my opinion. And we'll have a long talk about it to see just how close it is to how I believe this show handles its antagonists. But I can't quite say that yet, so I'll leave that for later. But what I will say now is the best villains, and we've said this over and over, are the people who believe they're doing the right thing. And right now, Rossiu is bound and determined that he is doing the right thing. I will not outright call him a villain, but boy ain't playing on the same field as Simone, and the weird thing is, it's one thing I love about the show, and I can't say it yet because we're not there, but this show does a very good job identifying where someone stands on like a villain scale, where they could not be a villain, but they're also not a protagonist. And they're not really an anti-hero either. They're just the person who has their own ideas, and they're not playing ball for either team. They're just kind of there. Like, he's roped Kinone into this, and that dude with the purple hair, I believe, was on Team Gurren before this. I forget every freaking time, but his model always looks familiar because he talks about the younger generation. But yeah, he does not want any of them fighting. And like at the end of this episode, he point blank like bastardizes Simone. He's like, he jumped in without thinking, and now bad things happened. And like, he's the one person that was like, we shouldn't be fighting these things, we should be figuring out. And right now, he's the only person that kind of looks in the right now, because the shit blew up when you killed it. That's a new one.
I mean, in that instance, he's not wrong. That is literally what happened.
Yeah.
But it's just the way he's written and the way that his voice actor like portrays the character.
Johnny Young Bosch, people, he's amazing.
Yeah, he is. I do love that the show has a like a very fluid scale of morality, where you can fight on the same side, but that doesn't mean you have the same ideals.
Yes, for sure. And your opinion on this stance once you see something you have not seen yet that that Rossiu's got started with the Spiral Research Facility. Oh, I can't wait to see your reaction to what it is, because
oh boy.
But yeah, we had the first showing of the new enemy. I have to ask you, was that at all what you were expecting?
It's certainly something.
Like the Arabian synth music that plays too.
What I'm curious about is, what exactly does Nia have to do with all of this?
What Nia has to do with all this, to be spoiler free, is Simone can't catch a break. That's
fair.
That's all I have to say. You just can't. That poor bastard can never catch a break at any point in his life. Gets the girl of his dreams back to live in the same house, and now she's gotten the what the hell is the virus that Cable gets? The techno-organic virus, is that what it's called?
Something like that.
It's something like that, but it's just like, that was the first thing I thought when Nia just into thin air after all the weird coding and stuff happens. And I didn't know if you were gonna watch the
it's just called techno-organic virus.
Okay. I didn't know if you were gonna watch the intro or not. This is a very much nowadays, like post 2005 anime thing that they do, where they will show point blank spoilers in the intro with no context. And then sometimes they'll put stuff that makes you think it's a spoiler, but it never happens in the show.
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty common.
Yeah. And it happens, it was like, it basically became a standard practice for animes after a while. And this was one of the intros that's super heavy with it. Like the last, I want to say 10 seconds of it shows something really cool that I can't wait for you to see. And then the moment with Nia was there, and I'm like, they really go whole hog. I forget just how much they show in the first start, but man, shit gets deep from here on out. And we're doing these one episode at a time, so now I know what I'm not forgetting in certain episodes and stuff like that, so it works. But it's like, do you have any other questions before we move on?
I think I'm good for now. Just to recap, 7 years have gone by.
Yep.
All is peaceful-ish. Viral is a vigilante.
Yep.
And the moon, apparently, like
that's no moon. That's a space station.
Yeah, basically, that's no moon.
It's a something. So you remember when I told you the I can't go into what the one of the quotes from Kamina and Simone, speaking of the sit in the hot tub till you're sick.
Oh.
One of the quotes from Kamina is, we should really visit the moon one day. He's like, you really think we can make it up there? Why not?
Talk about a monkey paw wish.
Yep. And I was just like, I came this damn close to saying something, and I was like, I need to shut my damn mouth because I almost opened up a can of worms that I would not have been able to close again. But yeah, outside of how dead serious this episode took itself, is there anything else you would change considering what you know at this point?
I just wish they didn't scrap the gunmen. I also just wish like they like their government wasn't so bureaucratic. Like the kind of example of a leader I expected Simone to be, and I guess turns out to be at the end of this episode, is something more like T'Challa, who is like he's Black Panther, but he's the king of T'Challa.
Yes.
So yeah, so like T'Challa, King Arthur.
Yep.
Are there any other examples of like leaders, but who are also kind of like in the field?
It's kind of what
King Vegeta.
King Vegeta. That's very true. It's kind of what people always want Cap to be, but he can't be. That's actually a really good comparison. Maybe he's kind of like Cap, where at some point he should retire and kind of just help out the younger ones, but he can never sit back. To quote him, if I see a he says it in Civil War. I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's like, if I see a situation going south, I have to jump in. I can't help myself. And it's kind of just like, you need to sit this out. You need to let stuff happen. It's kind of like that. We're going to think of 1,000 examples as soon as we stop reviewing episodes today. But yeah, I like the fact that Simone is not, what I want to say, is complacent the right word? He doesn't want to just sit around. He wants to do stuff, and you can tell that he's miserable just sitting behind a desk sorting papers, because that's one of the first things he mentions to Nia. He's like, we should go out there, like live like them. I don't want to be the leader of Team Gurren. I just want to be a guy that has the girl he loves and go live like everybody else. He hasn't gotten to since he was 14.
That's right. Wow.
He spent 7 years being the most important person on planet Earth. That's a pretty big responsibility. Yeah. But holy crap, we're at 32 minutes already, and it's only the first episode. All right, folks. We've got more to talk about, but we'll have just as much to talk about in the next episode. We're going to get kicking into the next one. We're not rushing. I think we pretty much covered everything. Buta was there too. You had some gags where you found out that we've basically established that none of the people in Team Gurren like actually being in government, but we'll get to see more of that in the future episodes. So we're going to talk about that plenty. So there's no reason to really get into it here, because there's a lot more meat and potatoes with that in the future episodes. So, Mike, where can they reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptainK42. Check out all my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups, just at my name. You can look up the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group. Check them out on Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Listen to all our podcasts at Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, don't forget to check out renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
We got something tentatively planned. Mike's got something coming up. I've got something coming up as well, and they're two separate things. Mine most likely is going up on the 7th if all plans go well. I'll let you all decide if you know what that means. I'm a gamer, if that helps. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. I'm looking forward to next week, which is going to make absolutely no sense when this comes up, because we're recording it on November the 2nd. Next week, the PS5 is going to be in my possession, so I'll start streaming off of it next week, which will be like 7 weeks ago by the time this gets up, so I'm an idiot. All right. We're going to watch the next episode, get down to reviewing, so spin on. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.